The silence in his office is a living thing. It breathes in the space between his last word and my next heartbeat. The air, tasting of expensive leather and old paper, feels too thick to draw into my lungs. Cassian Vale watches me, his eyes the color of a storm-tossed sea, and I feel pinned by their intensity. Not just my boss anymore. The thought circles in my head, a vulture over a fresh kill. He is something else entirely, something primal. Aria. My name on his lips is not a question. It is a statement of fact, an anchor dropped in the churning chaos of my mind. I force my gaze away from his, down to the plush, dark carpet that swallows all sound. My wrist, the one he saw, tingles with a phantom ache. The faint, yellowing fingerprints are a map of my own cowardice, a secret I thought I'd kept so well. I was wrong. Cassian Vale sees everything. He made Mark disappear. The thought isn't a question either. It's a certainty that settles deep in my bones, cold and heavy as lead. Mark, with his quick temper and his heavy hands, his apologies that sounded like threats, gone. His apartment empty, his number a dead end. Vanished from the earth, as if he were nothing more than a whisper of smoke. And the man responsible is standing 5 feet away, his bespoke suit doing nothing to soften the lethal lines of his body. My voice is a frayed thread. I clear my throat, trying again. I don't understand. It's a lie. I understand perfectly. I've worked for him for 2 years. I've seen men twice his size shrink when he enters a room. I've typed memos that were death sentences, filed invoices that were blood money. I knew the world I was adjacent to, but I always believed there was a thick pane of glass between his life and mine. He just shattered it with a single look. "You don't have to," he says, his voice a low rumble that vibrates through the floor, up my legs. He moves, not toward me, but to the vast window that overlooks the city, the concrete and glass kingdom he commands. "You just have to obey." Obey. The word chafes, bringing with it a rush of bitter memories. I've spent the last year obeying Mark, obeying his moods, his whims, his fists. The thought of trading one cage for another, even a gilded one, makes a fresh wave of panic crest inside me. "He's gone," I whisper, the words barely audible. I need to hear it said aloud. I need to confirm the reality of it. Cassian's reflection is a dark silhouette against the glittering skyline. He doesn't turn. Men like that don't deserve to draw breath, Aria. They are a blight. They take and they break, and they offer nothing in return. His voice is devoid of emotion, a clinical assessment. The world is cleaner without him. A tremor runs through me. It's not fear, not exactly. It's a terrifying, shameful surge of relief. So potent it makes me dizzy. No more walking on eggshells. No more flinching at the sound of keys in the lock. No more strategically worn long sleeves. The relief is swiftly followed by guilt. A man is gone. Maybe dead. And I am grateful. What does that make me? "What do you want from me?" I ask, my voice gaining a sliver of strength. Now he turns. He moves with an unnerving grace, a predator in his natural habitat. He stops in front of his massive mahogany desk but doesn't sit. He leans back against it, crossing his arms over his powerful chest. The posture is deceptively casual. He is a coiled spring. "I want your safety." I almost laugh. It's a hysterical sound that catches in my throat. "My safety? You run the most dangerous enterprise in this city. You are the last person who can talk to me about safety." A flicker of something, annoyance, amusement, crosses his features. "You were safer typing my correspondence than you were in your own home. Do not mistake the source of your danger." He pushes off the desk and takes a step toward me. My instinct is to retreat, but my feet are glued to the floor. That animal had associates, friends, people who might wonder where he went. They might believe you have the answer. Your apartment is no longer secure. Every word is a hammer blow, dismantling the fragile sense of peace I had just begun to feel. He's right. Mark ran with a rough crowd. Men with hollow eyes and cruel smiles. They'd seen me with him. They knew where I lived. So what am I supposed to do? I hate how small my voice sounds, how utterly helpless. "You'll pack a bag," he states, as if it's the simplest thing in the world. "My head of security, Leo, will escort you from your apartment this evening. He will bring you to my home. You'll stay there." The room spins. Stay with him? In his house? The idea is unthinkable. I am his secretary, an employee, nothing more. This crosses a line so profound I can't even see it anymore. "No," I say, the word popping out before I can stop it. "I can't. I'll find a new place. I'll stay with a friend." Cassian's expression hardens, the faint hint of civility vanishing completely. This is not a negotiation, Aria. Do you have a friend who can stop a bullet? Do you have a new apartment with walls thick enough to keep out men who are determined to get in? You think this is a game? He takes the final step, closing the distance between us. He's so close now, I can smell the clean, sharp scent of his cologne, a hint of cedar and something metallic, like cold steel. He doesn't touch me, but I feel the heat radiating from his body. He looms over me, a mountain of intimidation. I do not make suggestions. I give orders. You will be at my home by midnight. He is my boss. He is my protector. He is my captor. The roles blur, bleeding into one another until I can't tell them apart. I look up into his unyielding face, the hard line of his jaw, the absolute certainty in his eyes, and I know I have no choice. I traded a violent, unpredictable monster for a cold, controlled one. I have no idea if I've made a bargain or a fatal mistake. Yes, Mr. Vale, I murmur, the honorific feeling absurdly formal now. A muscle in his jaw clenches. Cassian, he corrects, his voice dropping to a near whisper, a thread of sound that is somehow more commanding than a shout. When we are alone, you will call me Cassian. He holds my gaze for a moment longer, a silent declaration of ownership passing between us. Then he steps back, and the invisible pressure on my chest eases. He is once again Cassian Vale, the enigmatic CEO, the king of the city's underworld, and I am just his secretary. But we both know that's a lie. Leo is waiting for me outside my apartment building, just as Cassian promised. He's a large man, built like a brick wall, but his eyes are surprisingly kind. He doesn't speak, just nods once as I approach, my single duffel bag clutched in my trembling hands. The ride to my apartment was a blur of anxiety. I packed numbly, my eyes scanning the familiar, shabby room that had been my prison. I didn't take much. A few changes of clothes, my toiletries, a worn copy of my favorite book. It felt like I was packing for my own funeral. The drive to Cassian's home is silent. We leave my part of the city, the gritty streets and noisy neighbors, and ascend into the hills where the elite live. The houses grow larger, hidden behind gates and sprawling lawns. We finally pull up to a set of imposing iron gates that swing open without a sound. We drive down a long, tree-lined driveway that ends in front of a house that is less a home and more a modern fortress. It's all glass and dark steel and sharp angles, a stark and beautiful structure that seems to have risen from the earth itself. It looks like him. Cold, powerful, and impenetrable. Leo leads me inside. The interior is just as intimidating. Soaring ceilings, polished concrete floors, and minimalist furniture in shades of black, gray, and white. There isn't a single personal touch, no photographs, no clutter, no sign that a human being actually lives here. It's more like a museum or a high-end hotel lobby. The only warmth comes from the floor-to-ceiling windows that offer a breathtaking, panoramic view of the city lights twinkling below. A cage with a view. Mr. Vale is in his study, Leo says, his voice a low, gravelly bass. He said to show you to your room. Mrs. Petrova has prepared it. He leads me down a long, stark hallway. Our footsteps echo in the cavernous silence. He stops at a plain white door and pushes it open. Your room. Bathroom is through there. If you need anything, the kitchen is at the end of the hall. Mrs. Petrova is the housekeeper. She'll be here in the mornings. I step inside, and my breath catches. The room is beautiful, of course. A massive bed with crisp white linens, a sleek black dresser, and one entire wall made of glass, mirroring the view from the main living area. It's luxurious and empty and completely soulless. Thank you, Leo, I say quietly. He just nods again. Lock your door, he advises, his kind eyes turning serious. Not because of anyone in this house. Just get in the habit. It's a safer way to live. He pulls the door shut, leaving me alone in the sterile perfection of my new prison. I drop my bag on the floor and walk to the window. The city is spread out before me like a carpet of scattered diamonds. My old apartment is down there somewhere. A tiny, insignificant speck in the urban sprawl. It feels 1,000,000 miles away, a lifetime away. I press my forehead against the cool glass, the silence of the house pressing in on me. It's a different kind of quiet from my old apartment. There, silence was a prelude to violence, a holding of breath before the storm. Here, the silence is absolute, the kind that comes from perfect insulation and total control. I wonder where Mark is. Is he alive? Locked in a basement somewhere? Or is he at the bottom of the river that snakes through the city? The guilt returns, a sour taste in my mouth. I should be horrified. I should be mourning, or at least pretending to. But all I feel is a hollow, echoing sense of freedom that I'm too terrified to acknowledge. I unpack my meager belongings, the act feeling strangely defiant. I place my worn book on the polished nightstand, a single splash of imperfection in the flawless room. I change into a simple t-shirt and sweatpants, clothes that feel alien in this opulent setting. I try to sit on the bed, but the mattress is too firm, the sheets too smooth. I feel like an intruder, a stray brought in from the rain, liable to track mud on the pristine floors. Hours pass. I don't see or hear from Cassian. The silence stretches, thrumming with unspoken tension. I'm hungry, but the thought of navigating this strange, enormous house to find the kitchen is overwhelming. It's his space. I'm here on his command, a piece he has moved on his personal chessboard. I don't know the rules of the game. I don't even know what we're playing. Eventually, exhaustion wins out over anxiety. I crawl into the enormous bed, the cool sheets a shock against my skin. I lie there, staring into the darkness, listening to the sound of my own breathing. I feel impossibly small and alone. I fell asleep thinking I had escaped a monster, only to wake up in the lair of a king, and I am utterly at his mercy. The next morning, I wake to the smell of coffee. It's a small, normal thing in a world that has become anything but. I follow the scent down the long hall to a kitchen that looks like it belongs in a magazine, all stainless steel and gleaming black marble. A woman with silver hair pulled into a tight bun and a severe expression is wiping down a counter. She looks up as I enter, her eyes sharp and assessing. "You are Aria," she says. It's not a question. Her accent is thick, Eastern European. This must be Mrs. Petrova. Yes, good morning. Coffee is there. She gestures with her chin toward a high-end machine. Mr. Vale takes his black. He has already left for the office. He said you are not to leave the house. Of course, a prisoner. I pour myself a coffee, my hands shaking slightly. The mug is heavy, expensive porcelain. Everything in this house feels substantial, permanent. Unlike me. "Thank you," I say. She just grunts in response, her attention already back on the spotless counter. She is clearly one of Cassian's people, loyal and uncommunicative. Another wall in this fortress. I take my coffee and retreat to my room, feeling like a scolded child. The days fall into a strange, empty rhythm. I wake up. I drink coffee alone in the vast kitchen. I wander the silent, sterile rooms of the penthouse, feeling more like a ghost than a guest. Mrs. Petrova comes and goes, a silent, efficient presence who barely acknowledges me. Cassian leaves before I wake, and returns long after I have retired to my room, feigning sleep. We don't cross paths. It's as if he brought me here only to forget about me. But I know he hasn't forgotten. I can feel his presence everywhere, in the scent of his cologne that lingers in the hallway after he's gone, in the expensive, curated food that fills the refrigerator, in the sheer oppressive security of the building. This is his world, and I am living in it, breathing his air. The lack of contact is more unnerving than a constant presence would be. It's a power play. He is reminding me that my existence here is entirely dependent on his whim. He can grant me an audience or ignore me completely. After a week of this suffocating solitude, I'm starting to unravel. The relief of Mark's absence is being replaced by a new kind of anxiety, a gnawing uncertainty about my future. What am I supposed to do? Am I his prisoner forever? Am I just some kind of trophy, a symbol of his power to take and control whatever he wants? One evening, I can't take it anymore. I don't retreat to my room. Instead, I find the library. It's the one room in the house that feels remotely lived in. Floor-to-ceiling shelves packed with books, 2 worn leather armchairs, and a fireplace. The air smells of old paper and wood smoke. It's a sanctuary. I pull a random volume of poetry from the shelf and curl up in one of the chairs, the one that doesn't look as imposing. I must have drifted off, because the next thing I know, the room is bathed in the soft glow of a single lamp. A fire is crackling in the hearth, chasing away the chill of the cavernous house. And Cassian is there, sitting in the opposite armchair, a glass of amber liquid in his hand. He's watching me, his expression unreadable in the dim light. My heart leaps into my throat. I'm sorry, I stammer, sitting up straight. I fell asleep. I know, he says, his voice a low murmur. He doesn't look angry, he just looks observant. as if he's studying a strange new specimen. "Are you comfortable here, Aria?" The question is so absurd I almost laugh. Comfortable? I'm a prisoner in a luxury jail cell. I haven't stepped outside in a week. I haven't spoken to another human being besides your housekeeper, who I think might be a robot. So, no, I'm not particularly comfortable. The words are out before I can stop them, sharp and bitter. A corner of his mouth quirks up, a fleeting, almost imperceptible movement. "Mrs. Petrova is an excellent housekeeper, not a conversationalist. And you are not a prisoner. You are a protected asset." "An asset?" I repeat, the word tasting like ash, like one of your cars or a piece of art. "You are more valuable than either," he says, his gaze never leaving mine. He takes a slow sip of his drink. The firelight glints off the crystal glass. "And far more complicated." He gets up and walks over to the fireplace, resting one arm on the mantel. The pose is casual, but it accentuates the breadth of his shoulders, the sheer power he holds in his frame. "The men who associated with your former problem, they've been asking questions, making inquiries. It was wise to move you." A cold dread washes over me, extinguishing my anger. He's not just being paranoid. The threat is real. "What will they do?" "They will do nothing," he says with absolute finality. "Because they cannot get to you, and because soon, they will have other things to worry about." There's a chilling promise in his tone. He is a master of threats veiled as simple statements. He turns to face me fully. "I understand this is an adjustment, but it is necessary. Your safety is paramount." "Why?" The word bursts out of me, raw and desperate. "Why is my safety so important to you? I'm your secretary. That's it. Why go to all this trouble? Why make a man disappear for me?" He is silent for a long time, his expression unreadable. The only sounds are the crackling of the fire and the frantic beating of my own heart. I think he isn't going to answer, but then he speaks, his voice so low I have to strain to hear it. "Because I don't tolerate filth in my vicinity," he says, his eyes boring into mine. And he was touching what is mine. The possessiveness in his voice is a physical blow. It leaves me breathless. He doesn't see me as a person to be rescued. He sees me as a possession to be protected. An object that was sullied by another's touch, which he has now reclaimed and polished. The realization is terrifying and, to my shame, a small dark part of me thrills at the intensity of his claim. To be so valuable to a man like Cassian Vale is a dangerous, intoxicating thing. He pushes off the mantel and walks toward me. He stops in front of my chair, forcing me to tilt my head back to look at him. He reaches out, and I flinch, my body conditioned by years of expecting a blow. His hand freezes in midair. His expression darkens, a thundercloud passing over his features. The anger in his eyes is not directed at me. It's for the man who taught me to flinch. Slowly, deliberately, he completes the motion. His fingers don't touch my face. Instead, they gently brush a stray strand of hair from my cheek. The touch is shockingly soft, a feather-light caress that sends a shiver down my spine. It's the first time he's touched me. "No one," he says, his voice a raw, guttural whisper, "will ever lay a hand on you in anger again. That is my promise." He holds my gaze for another heartbeat, his thumb brushing against my temple, before he straightens up and walks out of the room, leaving me alone with the fire, the echo of his words, and a heart that is pounding with a terrifying mixture of fear and hope. Life changes after that night in the library. The invisible wall between us has been breached. Cassian doesn't ignore me anymore. He starts coming home earlier, finding me wherever I've settled in the vast, empty house. Sometimes we eat dinner together in the cavernous dining room, the space between us at the long table feeling like a chasm. The meals are silent, formal affairs, but his presence is a heavy weight, a constant, unnerving awareness. Other times, he'll find me in the library and we'll sit in the comfortable silence of our separate chairs, reading. It's bizarrely domestic, a Mafia don and his captive secretary sharing a quiet evening. But beneath the placid surface, the tension is always there, a live wire humming between us. I am intensely aware of every move he makes, the way the firelight plays on the sharp planes of his face, the sound of him turning a page, the faint scent of his cologne. He starts talking to me, not just about my safety, but about other things. He asks about the book I'm reading. He tells me about the history of a painting on the wall. The conversations are stilted, impersonal, but they are a lifeline in the suffocating silence. I learn that he is formidably intelligent, his knowledge of history, art, and literature encyclopedic. He is more than just a brute in a suit. He is a complex, dangerous man, and the more layers he reveals, the more I find myself drawn into his orbit, against all my better judgment. One afternoon, I'm staring out the window, watching a storm roll in over the city, when Leo appears at my side. His sudden, silent appearance is still jarring. "Mr. Vale wants you to come with me," he says simply. My stomach clenches. "Where are we going?" "Downstairs." He leads me not to the front door, but to an elevator I hadn't even realized was there, concealed behind a panel in the wall. We descend several floors, the ride smooth and silent. The doors open into a garage that looks more like a luxury car showroom, but that's not what catches my attention. In the center of the space is a fully equipped gym, complete with a boxing ring. Cassian is there. He's stripped to a pair of black athletic shorts and his hands are wrapped. He's attacking a heavy bag with a brutal, focused intensity. Sweat gleams on his back, highlighting the intricate tapestry of muscle that shifts with every powerful blow. He moves with a boxer's grace, a whirlwind of controlled violence. I see scars on his back, pale lines that speak of a life I can barely imagine. This is the man beneath the bespoke suits, the raw, untamed predator. He seems to sense our presence and stops, his breathing heavy. He turns to face us, wiping his brow with the back of his wrist. His eyes find mine, and there's a raw, primal energy in his gaze that makes my breath catch. "Leo will be teaching you some things," Cassian says, his voice rough. "How to defend yourself, how to be aware of your surroundings. You live in my world now, Aria. Ignorance is a luxury you can no longer afford." I stare at him, stunned. "You want me to learn how to fight?" "I want you to learn how to survive," he corrects, his expression deadly serious. "I can't be with you every second of every day. There will be times you are vulnerable. I will not allow you to be a victim again." And so, my bizarre new life gains another surreal routine. Every afternoon, Leo takes me to the gym. He is a patient, surprisingly gentle teacher. He shows me how to stand, how to throw a punch, how to use an attacker's weight against them. He teaches me to block, to parry, to escape a hold. At first, I am clumsy and weak. My muscles ache, and my knuckles are raw. But slowly, something shifts. The physical exertion is a release. Every punch I throw at the pads Leo holds is a punch at mark. It's a blow against my own fear and helplessness. I start to feel a strength in my body I never knew I had. My movements become more confident, more fluid. I'm still no match for a man like Leo, but I'm no longer the fragile, trembling woman who first walked into Cassian's office. Cassian is often there, watching from the sidelines. He never interferes, never offers a word of praise or criticism. He just watches, his presence a silent, intense pressure that pushes me to try harder, to hit stronger. Sometimes, after my lesson, he will step into the ring with Leo for a sparring session. Watching them is terrifying and mesmerizing. They move with a lethal speed and precision that is both beautiful and horrifying. This is his language, the language of violence, and he is forcing me to become fluent in it. One evening, after a particularly grueling session, I'm limping back toward the elevator, my body a symphony of aches. "Aria." Cassian's voice stops me. I turn. He's holding out a bottle of water. I take it, our fingers brushing. A jolt, hot and sharp, shoots up my arm. His eyes hold mine, and the air crackles with that familiar, unspoken energy. "You're getting stronger," he says. It's the first compliment he's ever given me. "I'm still not a fighter," I reply, my voice breathy. "No," he agrees, his gaze dropping to my lips. "But you're no longer prey." He doesn't say anything else. He just turns and walks away, leaving me with my heart hammering against my ribs and his words echoing in my ears. He's not just protecting me. He's arming me. He's changing me. And I don't know if I should be grateful or terrified. The relative peace of our strange routine is shattered a few weeks later. I'm in the library, trying to lose myself in a novel, when the house alarm blares. It's a deafening, piercing shriek that cuts through the silence and sends a spike of pure adrenaline through my system. Before I can even process what's happening, the library doors burst open and Leo is there, his face a grim mask. He has a gun in his hand. "Stay behind me," he orders, his voice calm despite the chaos. My blood runs cold. This is it. This is what Cassian warned me about. They've come for me. My training kicks in, a primal instinct honed by weeks of practice. My body goes on high alert. I scan the room for exits, for potential weapons. My heart is pounding, but the blind panic I would have felt a month ago is gone. replaced by a cold, sharp focus. Leo speaks into a device on his wrist. Perimeter breach, north wall, all teams converge. Status on Mr. Vale? A crackle of static, then a voice. He's on his way. ETA 2 minutes. 2 minutes feels like an eternity. Leo positions me in a corner of the room, away from the windows, and stands in front of me, a human shield. We wait in the screaming silence between the alarm pulses. I can hear shouting from outside, the sound of running feet. "What's happening?" I whisper. "Someone got past the outer fence," Leo says, his eyes scanning the doorway. "They won't get in the house. The system is locked down, but we don't take chances. The front doors of the penthouse are made of reinforced steel. The windows are bulletproof. I know this intellectually, but it does little to calm the frantic thumping in my chest." True to his word, Cassian arrives in what feels like seconds. He doesn't burst in. He enters the room with a chilling, lethal calm. He's still in his suit from the office, but his jacket is gone. His tie is loosened, and he's holding a sleek, black handgun that looks like a natural extension of his arm. His eyes find me immediately, a quick, assessing glance that confirms I'm unharmed. The relief that flashes across his face is so fleeting I almost miss it, but it's there. He turns his attention to Leo. "Report. 2 intruders. Scaled the north wall. 1 is down. The other is cornered by the east garden. Keep him alive," Cassian orders, his voice like ice. "I want to talk to him." He walks over to me. He crouches down, bringing himself to my level. His eyes, dark and turbulent, search my face. "Are you all right?" I nod, unable to speak. My throat is too tight. He reaches out and cups my cheek, his thumb stroking my skin. His hand is steady, warm, a stark contrast to the cold metal of the gun he still holds in the other. "It's over. You're safe." The alarm finally cuts off, plunging the house back into an eerie silence. The immediate threat is gone, but the adrenaline is still coursing through me. I'm shaking, a delayed reaction to the terror. Cassian sees it. Without a word, he holsters his weapon, scoops me up into his arms as if I weigh nothing, and carries me out of the library. He doesn't take me to my room. He takes me to his. His bedroom is even more stark and minimalist than the rest of the house. A massive bed, a dresser, and the same floor-to-ceiling windows. The only personal touch is the scent of him, which permeates the room. He sets me down on the edge of the bed and goes into the adjoining bathroom, returning with a glass of water. He kneels in front of me and holds it out. "Drink." I take it with trembling hands, spilling some on myself. He takes the glass back, sets it aside, and then takes my hands in his. They are large and warm, completely engulfing mine. "I'm sorry you had to experience that, Aria. They were here because of me," I say, my voice thick with guilt. "They were here because they are fools," he counters, his voice hard. "They underestimated me. They will not make that mistake again." He squeezes my hands. "This is my failure. I promised you safety, and my security was breached." The self-reproach in his voice is startling. Cassian Vale does not fail. He does not make mistakes. To hear him admit one, for my sake, is a profound shock. I wasn't as scared as I thought I would be," I admit quietly, looking down at our joined hands. "Leo was here, and I knew you were coming." The admission hangs in the air between us. It's a confession of trust. A staggering leap of faith for a woman who has only ever been given reasons to distrust men. He is silent for a moment. Then he lifts one of my hands and brings my knuckles to his lips. His mouth is warm against my skin. It's not a romantic gesture. It's an act of fealty. A knight pledging himself to his queen. It is the most intimate thing that has ever happened to me. "I will always come for you," he vows, his voice a low, rough growl against my skin. He releases my hands and stands up, his demeanor shifting back to the ruthless commander. "Leo will handle the interrogation. We will find out who sent them, and we will eliminate the threat, permanently." He heads for the door. "Cassian," I call out, my voice stopping him. He turns, his hand on the doorknob. "Don't leave me alone," I whisper, the plea pulled from the deepest, most vulnerable part of me. His expression softens. The hard edges of the Mafia boss melt away, and for a fleeting moment, I see the man underneath. A man who understands loneliness. A man who understands fear. He closes the door and walks back to the bed. He doesn't get in. He simply sits on the edge, his back to me. A silent, powerful sentinel. He doesn't speak. He doesn't touch me. He just stays. And as I lie down, pulling the covers up to my chin, His presence is the most reassuring thing I have ever known. I fall asleep in my protector's bedroom, safe in the heart of the storm, and for the first time, I don't dream of monsters. The aftermath of the intrusion settles over the house like a fine layer of dust. The security is visibly tightened. There are more guards patrolling the grounds, their movements efficient and discreet. The house, which already felt like a fortress, now feels utterly impregnable. The captured intruder, I learn from a clipped conversation I overhear between Cassian and Leo, belonged to a rival family, the Falcones. They were testing Cassian's defenses, using Mark's old associates as a pretext to get close. They wanted to see if the rumors were true, if Cassian Vale had developed a weakness. A woman. Me. The realization sends a chill through me. I am not just a person he is protecting out of some strange sense of duty. I am a target, a liability. My very existence in his life puts him in danger. The thought is sickening. This new reality changes the dynamic between us again. The quiet, domestic evenings in the library are replaced by a tense, watchful energy. Cassian spends more time in his study, on the phone, his voice a low, dangerous murmur. He is a king at war, and I am the territory being fought over. One night, I can't sleep. The silence of the house feels heavy, fraught with unspoken threats. I wander into the kitchen for a glass of water and find him there, staring out at the city lights, a glass of whiskey in his hand. He looks tired. The weight of his empire seems to be pressing down on him, etching new lines around his eyes. "You should be sleeping," he says, without turning around. He always seems to know when I'm near. "So should you," I counter, my voice soft. I walk to the counter and pour myself some water, my movements slow. I lean against the cool marble, a few feet away from him. "Is it because of me?" I ask, the question I've been dreading. "This trouble with the Falcones?" He finally turns to look at me, his eyes dark and shadowed. "The Falcones have always been trouble. They are jackals, nipping at the heels of a lion. You are not the cause of this war, Aria. You are merely the battlefield they chose." That doesn't make me feel any better. "It wasn't meant to," he says, taking a sip of his whiskey. "It was meant to be the truth." He sets the glass down with a heavy thud. "They made a mistake. They came into my home. They threatened what is mine. There is no forgiveness for that." His possessiveness, which once terrified me, now feels like a shield, a dangerous, all-encompassing shield. I have become accustomed to the weight of his claim on me, and I find, to my alarm, that I don't want to be free of it. "Tell me about them," I say, wanting to understand the world I've been plunged into. "The Falcones." He hesitates, studying my face. Then he nods, a small, sharp movement. He tells me about old family rivalries, about turf wars and betrayals that span generations. He speaks of it all with a detached, clinical precision, as if he's describing a complex business merger rather than a bloody feud. But beneath the calm exterior, I can sense the simmering rage, the cold, calculating fury of a man whose sanctuary has been violated. As he talks, I find myself watching his mouth, the way his lips form the hard, unforgiving words. I am mesmerized by the contrast between the violence of his world and the quiet intimacy of this moment. Just the two of us, in the dead of night, surrounded by a city that is both his kingdom and his battleground. "Why are you telling me all this?" I ask when he finally falls silent. "Because you asked," he says simply, as if it's the most obvious thing in the world. "And because you have a right to know the nature of the beast that guards your cage." "You think you're a beast?" "I know what I am," he says, his voice flat. He picks up his glass again, draining it in one swallow. "I have done things, Aria. Things that would make your soul wither. You saved me," I whisper. "Did I?" He counters, a bitter twist to his lips. "Or did I just trade your old cage for a new one? A bigger one, perhaps, with a better view, but a cage nonetheless." He's offering me an out. He's showing me his darkness, giving me a chance to be repulsed, to recoil in fear. But I don't. I see the darkness, but I also see the man who sat in a chair all night just so I wouldn't be alone. The man who is teaching me to be strong instead of keeping me weak. The man who looks at me, not as a broken toy, but as something precious. I take a step closer to him, then another. The space between us is electric. I can feel the heat from his body, see the pulse hammering at the base of his throat. I am terrified, but not of him. I'm terrified of what I'm about to do, of the line I'm about to cross. I reach up and place my hand on his chest, over his heart. I can feel its steady, powerful beat beneath my palm. It's the beat of a predator, a king, a killer. But it's also the beat of a man. His entire body goes rigid at my touch. His eyes flare, a mixture of shock and something else, something hotter and more dangerous. "You're not a beast, Cassian," I say, my voice barely a whisper. I look up into his stormy eyes, unafraid. "You're a man, and your cage is the only place I have ever felt safe." The confession hangs in the air, a raw and undeniable truth. His control finally snaps. His hand comes up to cup the back of my neck, his fingers tangling in my hair. He pulls me toward him, his head descending, and then his mouth is on mine. The kiss is not gentle. It is a storm, a release of all the pent-up tension and unspoken words that have been simmering between us for weeks. It's hard and demanding and desperate. It tastes of whiskey and power and a loneliness that mirrors my own. I don't just accept it, I meet it. I kiss him back with a ferocity that surprises us both, my hands clutching at the front of his shirt, pulling him closer. This is not the act of a captor and his prisoner. This is a collision of two damaged souls who have found a strange, dangerous solace in each other. He breaks the kiss, his forehead resting against mine, his breathing ragged. His eyes are closed, his expression one of pained relief. "Aria," he rasps, my name a prayer and a curse on his lips. He kisses me again, slower this time, a deep, searching kiss that speaks of a desperate need. He is mapping my soul with his lips, and I am letting him. I am giving him access to the broken parts of me, and in return, I can feel him offering me his own. In that moment, the power dynamics between us dissolve. We are not boss and secretary, protector and victim. We are just a man and a woman, finding a fragile, precarious light in the encroaching darkness. He lifts me effortlessly, setting me on the marble counter so that we are eye to eye. His hands frame my face, his thumbs stroking my cheekbones. The gesture is so tender it makes my heart ache. "You have no idea what you do to me," he murmurs, his gaze intense, possessive, and for the first time, achingly vulnerable. I know then that I am irrevocably lost. I have fallen for the monster who slew my monster, and I am no longer sure I ever want to be found. The war with the Falcones escalates. It's not a war fought in the open, but in the shadows. A shipment of theirs goes missing. One of their key enforcers is arrested on an anonymous tip. A fire breaks out at one of their warehouses. It's a slow, methodical dismantling of their empire, orchestrated by Cassian from his study. He is relentless, unforgiving, and he is winning. Our own relationship has entered a new, uncharted territory. The kiss in the kitchen broke down the last of the barriers between us. We are lovers now. Tentative, at first, as if we are both afraid of this fragile new connection. But our shared intimacy grows, a defiant flower blooming on a battlefield. He is a demanding, possessive lover, but also surprisingly tender, as if he's afraid of breaking me. He treats my body with a reverence that is completely at odds with the violence he is capable of. With him, I feel not just safe, but cherished. It's a heady, addictive feeling. I see a side of him that I'm sure no one else does. I see the weariness behind his iron control, the flicker of doubt in his eyes after a difficult phone call. I learn to read the subtle shifts in his mood, to know when to offer him a quiet presence and when to give him space. I am no longer just an inhabitant of his home. I am becoming a part of it, a part of him. One rainy afternoon, he comes home early. I find him not in his study, but in the library, staring into the unlit fireplace. There's a photograph in his hand. "What is it?" I ask, coming to stand behind him, resting my hands on his shoulders. He doesn't stiffen at my touch anymore. He leans into it. He is silent for a long moment before he turns the photo around for me to see. It's a picture of a younger Cassian, maybe in his late teens, with his arm around a smiling girl who shares his dark hair and stormy eyes. She looks vibrant, full of life. "My sister," he says, his voice thick with an old, deep-seated grief. "Isla." My heart clenches. "She's beautiful. She was," he corrects softly. He turns back to the fireplace, but he keeps the photo angled so I can see it. "She was bright and fearless. Too fearless for her own good. She got involved with the wrong man. Someone from a family, an enemy family. She thought love could conquer anything. She was naive." The story pours out of him, a torrent of pain he has held back for years. Isla had fallen in love with a Falcone. She believed he was different, that he would leave his family for her. Instead, he used her. He used her to get information, to gain an advantage in their endless war. When she found out and threatened to expose him, he silenced her. They made it look like an accident, Cassian says, his voice devoid of all emotion now. A terrifying, empty calm. A car crash. But I knew. I found the evidence. I proved it to my father. That was the day the Cold War between our families turned hot. It was the day I learned that love is a liability, and trust is a weapon that can be used against you. He finally looks at me, his eyes filled with a raw, soul-deep agony. I was supposed to protect her, Aria. She was my little sister. I was supposed to keep her safe. And I failed. Now I understand. It all clicks into place. His obsessive need to protect me. His hatred for men who hurt women. His utter ruthlessness toward his enemies. It's all rooted in this one devastating failure. I am his second chance, his penance. Tears well in my eyes, not for myself, but for him. For the boy who lost his sister and had to become a monster to avenge her. I wrap my arms around him from behind, pressing my cheek against his back. He is rigid for a moment, unaccustomed to being comforted. Then he sags against me, a shudder running through his powerful frame. You didn't fail her, I whisper into his shirt. He did. His family did. The world failed her. Not you. He says nothing, but he reaches back and covers my hands with his own, his grip tight, desperate. We stand like that for a long time, the silence filled with the ghosts of the past. In that moment, I realize the true depth of my feelings for him. It's not just gratitude or attraction or even passion. It's love. A fierce, protective love for this broken, dangerous man who is trying so desperately to fix the past by protecting my future. This new understanding solidifies our bond. We are a true partnership now. He no longer hides the details of his war with the Falcones from me. He talks to me about his strategies, his frustrations. He uses me as a sounding board, valuing my opinion. I, in turn, feel a sense of purpose I haven't felt before. I'm not just being protected, I am helping to protect him. I organize his files, research his rivals, offer insights from an outsider's perspective that he sometimes misses. I am his secretary again, but this time, I am his most trusted confidant, his partner in the truest sense of the word. The Falcones are getting desperate. Their operations are crippled, their influence waning. They are a cornered animal, and that's when they are most dangerous. We know they are planning something big, a final, desperate move to turn the tide. The tension in the house is palpable. The blow comes from a direction we never expected. It's not a frontal assault. It's a betrayal. It happens on a Tuesday. Cassian is in a meeting across town. Leo is with him. I'm in the study, organizing some financial records, when Mrs. Petrova brings me a cup of tea. You look tired, dear, she says, her tone unusually warm. Drink this. It will help you relax. I smile, touched by the rare show of concern. Thank you, Mrs. Petrova. I take a sip. It tastes strange. Bitter. My head suddenly feels fuzzy. The room tilting. I look at her, confused. Her severe expression is gone, replaced by a cold, hard look I've never seen before. What? I try to say, but my tongue feels thick, clumsy. He should never have brought you here, she says, her accent thicker than usual. You made him weak. The room spins violently, and then everything goes black. I wake up in darkness. My head is throbbing, my mouth is dry, and I'm cold. I'm lying on a hard, damp floor. I try to move, but my hands and feet are bound with zip ties. Panic, cold and sharp, cuts through the fog in my brain. I force myself to stay calm. I listen. The drip of water somewhere nearby. The distant hum of what sounds like a generator. I take a deep breath. The air smells of mold and dust. I'm in a basement. She's awake. A voice from the shadows. A man's voice. A light flicks on, blinding me. As my eyes adjust, I see two men standing over me, and Mrs. Petrova. Her face is a mask of grim satisfaction. What is this? I ask, my voice hoarse. This is justice, she spits. My family served the Vales for 2 generations. We were loyal. But he has forgotten what is important. He risks everything for a little stray he picked up from the gutter. You work for the Falcones. I realize, the pieces clicking together with sickening clarity. She wasn't just a housekeeper. She was a spy, a traitor. My loyalty is to the old ways, she says, to the families who understand tradition, not to a man who has been bewitched by a pretty face. One of the men hauls me to my feet and shoves me into a wooden chair. He ties my arms to the back of it. "Marco Falcone will be here soon," the other man says with a greasy smile. He's very eager to meet the woman who has caused so much trouble. My blood runs cold. Marco Falcone, the man who killed Isla, the man Cassian has been hunting for years. This isn't just about the war. This is personal. They are using me to lure Cassian into a trap. Fear threatens to swallow me whole. But then I remember my training. I remember Leo's patient instructions. I remember Cassian's intense gaze as he watched me. His silent belief in my strength. I am not prey. I will not be a victim. I force my breathing to even out. I scan the room. It's a cellar. Concrete walls. A single steel door. One bare bulb hanging from the ceiling. The two men are armed. Mrs. Petrova is standing by the door. I am outmatched. But I am not helpless. I start to work on the zip tie around my wrists, subtly rubbing it against a splintered edge on the back of the chair. It's a long shot, but it's something. An hour passes. It feels like a year. The men get complacent. They start talking, laughing. They think I'm just a terrified woman, a pawn in their game. They underestimate me. That is their mistake. Finally, I hear the sound of a car arriving outside. The door opens, and Marco Falcone steps in. He's older than I expected, with slicked back gray hair and cold, dead eyes. He looks at me, a cruel smile spreading across his face. "So this is her," he says, circling my chair like a shark. I have to admit, I don't see the appeal, but Cassian always did have a soft spot for strays, just like his sister. A red-hot rage burns through me, chasing away the last of my fear. "Don't you dare speak her name," he laughs. Feisty. I like that. He leans in close, his breath smelling of stale cigars. "Your lover is on his way. He was so eager to hear your voice, he didn't even question the location. He's walking right into our trap. And when he's dead, I'm going to have a lot of fun with you before I send you to join him." Just then, I feel the zip tie snap. My hands are free. I don't move. I wait. My heart is a war drum in my chest. Falcone turns to one of his men. "Get ready. He'll be here any minute. This is my chance." As he turns his back, I explode from the chair. I ram my shoulder into the back of his knees, sending him sprawling to the floor. I snatch the gun from his ankle holster, a small, snub-nosed revolver. It feels heavy and foreign in my hand. The other two men are stunned for a split second, and that's all I need. I don't aim for them. I aim for the light bulb. I pull the trigger. The sound is deafening in the small space. The bulb shatters, plunging the room into absolute darkness. Someone shouts. A gun goes off, the flash momentarily illuminating the chaos. I drop to the floor, crawling away from the sound, toward where I remember the wall being. My training with Leo wasn't just about fighting. It was about awareness, about using the environment. "Find her!" Falcone screams. Another gunshot. This one is from outside. Then another. The sounds of a battle. Cassian is here. He didn't walk into the trap. He brought the storm with him. The steel door bursts open, and for a second, a figure is silhouetted against the outside light. Leo. He opens fire, his movements precise and deadly. I don't wait. I scramble to my feet in the darkness and run for the door, keeping low. I burst out into the night air, gasping. The scene is one of controlled chaos. Cassian's men are moving with silent, lethal efficiency, taking down Falcone's guards. And then I see him. Cassian. He's moving through the fight like a wraith, a gun in each hand. He is not a businessman anymore. He is a warrior, a demon of vengeance. His eyes find mine across the yard, and for a split second, relief floods his face. Falcone emerges from the cellar, using Mrs. Petrova as a shield. He has a gun to her head. "Vale," he screams. "Call them off, or the old woman dies." Cassian freezes. His gaze shifts from me to Falcone, his expression turning to stone. "Let her go, Marco," Cassian says, his voice dangerously calm. "Drop your weapons, all of you." I watch, my heart in my throat. I see the flicker of indecision in Cassian's eyes. He will not risk an innocent life, not even a traitor's. Falcone knows this. It's his only advantage. But I am not one of Cassian's soldiers. I am not bound by his code. I still have Falcone's small revolver clutched in my hand. I am behind them. They've forgotten about me. The pawn, the stray. I raise the gun, my hands shaking. I remember Leo's words. Control your breathing. Squeeze the trigger. Don't pull it. I aim for Falcone's leg. I take a deep breath, and I fire. The shot is true. Falcone screams and collapses, his shot going wild. Mrs. Petrova scrambles away. In the next instant, Cassian is on him. He doesn't shoot him. He drops his guns and his hands are on Falcone, a blur of brutal, merciless violence. The sounds are sickening. It's not a fight. It's an execution. Leo is at my side, gently taking the gun from my hand. You did good, Aria, he says, his voice full of respect. I can't take my eyes off Cassian. He is pure, unrestrained fury. He is the beast he warned me about, and I am not afraid. I have never been more certain of anything in my life. When it's over, Falcone is a broken, unmoving heap on the ground. Cassian stands over him, his chest heaving. Then he turns and walks toward me, his face a mask of cold fury, his knuckles bloody. He stops in front of me, his eyes searching every inch of me, as if to reassure himself I am real and unharmed. He reaches out, his blood-stained hand cupping my cheek. I almost lost you, he whispers, his voice raw with a pain that has nothing to do with the fight. You found me, I say, my voice shaking. You always find me. You saved yourself, he corrects, a look of fierce pride in his eyes. And you saved me. He pulls me into his arms, holding me so tightly I can barely breathe. I bury my face in his chest, inhaling the scent of him, of gunpowder, and fury, and home. He is my captor, my protector, my lover, and I am his, not his possession, his partner, his equal. The war is over. Marco Falcone is dead. His organization crumbles without him. The threat is neutralized. In the days that follow, a strange calm settles over our lives. The extra guards disappear. The tension that has been a constant companion for months finally dissipates. One evening, about a week after the final battle, Cassian comes to me in the library. He's holding a file. What's that? I ask. He places it on the table in front of me. It's a deed to an apartment downtown, a very secure building. There's also a bank account with enough money for you to live comfortably for the rest of your life, and a new identity, if you want it. I stare at him, my heart stopping. What are you talking about? It's over, Aria, he says, his voice quiet, his expression unreadable. The threat is gone. You're free. You don't have to stay in the cage anymore. He is giving me a choice. The choice he never had. The choice Isla never had. He is offering me my old life back, or a new one that doesn't have him in it. He is doing the right thing, the noble thing, and it feels like he's tearing my heart out. I look from the file to his face. I see the conflict in his eyes, the desperate hope that I will stay, and the selfless conviction that I should go. He thinks he is a monster. He thinks he is a cage. He doesn't see what I see. I don't even open the file. I slide it back across the table toward him. I don't want it, I say, my voice clear and steady. A flicker of confusion crosses his face. Aria, you don't understand. You can go anywhere. You can be anyone. You don't have to live in this world. I understand perfectly, I say, standing up. I walk around the table until I'm standing directly in front of him. I take his hands in mine. They are scarred and strong, the hands of a killer and a protector. They are the hands that have held me, touched me, saved me. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to be anyone else. I look him directly in the eye, pouring all the love and conviction I feel into my gaze. This was never a cage, Cassian. This was a sanctuary. You were never my captor. You were my savior. Tears well in my eyes, but I don't let them fall. My choice was made a long time ago. It was made in a quiet library, and in a dark kitchen, and in a bloody cellar. I choose this world. If it means I have you, I choose you. He stares at me, his mask of control finally crumbling. I see the raw, naked vulnerability of the man beneath, the boy who lost his sister, the king who feared his own heart. A single tear escapes his eye and traces a path down his cheek. He pulls me to him, his arms wrapping around me in a desperate, possessive embrace. I don't deserve you, he murmurs into my hair. Probably not, I say, a small smile touching my lips. But you're stuck with me. He pulls back just enough to look at me, a slow, genuine smile spreading across his face. It transforms him, erasing the years of pain and solitude. Is that an order, Miss Evans? It's a promise, Cassian, I reply, my heart overflowing. You came for me. Now I'm staying for you. He lowers his head and kisses me, and this kiss is different from all the others. It's not born of desperation or passion or relief. It is a kiss of peace, of homecoming, a new pact, written not in contracts or blood, but in the quiet, unshakable language of two souls who have found their home in the most unlikely of places. The king has found his queen, the beast has found his beauty, and in the heart of the city's darkness, we have built our own, defiant light. I used to think safety meant silence, keeping my head down, making myself small, pretending the bruises didn't exist. But safety isn't the absence of danger. It's the presence of someone who will walk through fire to reach you. Cassian Vale didn't just destroy my monsters. He made me face them, and then taught me how to fight back. I don't know if what we have can be called peace. Maybe it's something deeper, something wilder. The kind of love that doesn't ask for permission, that rebuilds you from the wreckage. The kind that leaves scars and calls them vows. They'll tell stories about Cassian Vale, the ruthless man who ruled this city from the shadows. But the truth? The real story is about the woman who refused to run from him, and the moment he stopped ruling and started feeling. If you've stayed with me through this, through the fear, the fire, and the storm, thank you. Tell me in the comments. Would you have walked away from Cassian Vale, or stayed when he whispered your name? Like this video if your heart raced with mine. Subscribe and ring the bell for the next dark, beautiful love story. And until next time, keep your heart brave. And remember, even the monsters can learn how to love.